some nerd power. It's the Falcon Paladin Hour, a podcast by Falcon Paladin and Somicron. Falcon hates puns and thinks that they're all wrong. One's American and one is an Aussie, talking about StarCraft 2 and the esports scene.
Hello and welcome to the podcast, Falcon Paladin. Hey, you're back to the Eye of Sauron. I thought you were going to be in a winter snowstorm.
I was, but I'm getting this weird shadow behind my head on everything I do, and it's less noticeable when the background is not white.
I mean, I'm going to throw it out there. I can still see it.
I didn't say it was invisible. I said it was
Okay.
less noticeable. It is still noticeable.
Okay. I mean, if you look on the stream, your background actually leaks out with the chroma key to the edge of the frame.
Oh.
Yeah, my one does it at the top right here. Like you can see my finger go through this little bit here.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Yep.
That's fun.
Yeah,
Good job,
visual
Discord.
gags on a podcast. It's great.
Uh-huh.
It's not Discord, it's Streamlabs' fault.
Streamlabs. Ooh.
Well, actually, it's my fault. I should fix that. Like, I've known it's there for a while now, but, I'm lazy.
Getting emotional whiplash here. Who am I supposed to blame? Is it you? Is that the final answer?
The terrorists. Blame the terrorists.
Terrorists. Done.
Yep.
Blame the terrorists. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, good.
Uh,
Woof. So, happy podcast day. Good to be back with another one. It's a balmy 35 degrees outside right now.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I was like, well, that's pretty close to a normal sounding amount. That's cold for you, isn't it?
It is. It
Yeah.
is February, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
It's crazy, though, because Canada and the northeast U.S. and the Midwest of the U.S. are getting crushed by snow right now.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the mountain part, like the mountainous parts of America are just like, I don't know, man. It's okay, I guess.
Were you about to describe yourself as Midwest?
No.
I feel
was
like
going to say mountainous, but that's not the word. Mountainous region is not how we say it. It's the Mountain West.
I feel like you were about to say Midwest. I feel like I felt
I already
those
said
syllables.
Midwest. You think I was going to say the Midwest is getting crushed and the Midwest is not getting crushed?
You didn't say the Midwest was getting crushed. You said like the
I
Northeast
didn't?
and Canada, right? You said like Northeast
Oh,
Canada.
well,
and
shoot.
then-
Well, yeah, so I meant to say Canada, the Northeast, and the Midwest are getting crushed,
Okay.
and the mountainous states are not.
okay.
I thought that's what I said. Well, rewind it. Rewind the tape.
We don't have that technology here to do that live on the podcast. I'm afraid.
That's true.
That's
Sad.
You'll have to bring a clip for next time, and
Yes.
we'll play it, and you can prove me wrong.
I'm totally going to forget. Don't even worry about it.
Excellent. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's actually been kind of lovely the last couple days here. It hasn't gotten above like 27 degrees Celsius, which is like
Balmy.
85 at the most. Right?
85's wondrous. That's fantastic
Yeah.
for summertime. Yeah.
79. Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be like
79's even
30,
better.
32
Oh.
Celsius or something.
Yeah. Once you're above 30, I'm like hot, and then 40's like everyone's dead. So,
Yep. It's great. Love it.
I'm learning Celsius. Look at me go.
Quick, what temperature does water boil at?
100.
Wow, you're so good.
I know. A genius.
You've nailed it. If only you could get done freezing. I hear you're tripping up on that a little bit, though.
Yeah, I got to look at my flashcards again for that one.
Yeah, so this might be my last podcast in this house.
Exciting.
It might be next week, but yeah, I am moving.
Very good. Very good.
I don't want to move. Moving is such a chore.
Moving sucks. Moving is the worst. What's up, Dollar V? Oh, come in from the stream earlier today. How's it going? Yeah, moving's the worst. I hate it. You hate it because we are both rational, logical people.
Completely, yes.
Anybody who's like, ooh, moving's fun, like, take them out and shoot them in the head. They are obviously an alien.
But there are people who, like, live in their van, right? And, like, moving to them is driving 200 clicks away and being like, where am I parking tonight?
Yeah. I mean, that's
technically
not
moving.
moving. It is not.
It is.
Oh, we don't hate moving because we're in a different place. Is that why you hate moving?
Sometimes.
I hate moving because I have to put all my friggin' stuff in boxes. That's the worst part.
Yeah,
The people in vans don't have to put all their stuff in boxes.
That's, I mean, I would say they live out of boxes, but you know, yeah, I suppose. But like, don't you just hate it when like, I finally got everything where I want it to be in this room, all my stuff's on shelves, and then you go to your next place and you have to be like, okay, well, where am I putting this bookcase? You know?
Yeah, unpacking is also bad. All of it is bad. Every part of it is bad. Being in a new place is not what I hate about it.
Right, but what if it's like, okay, I'm in a new place and there isn't a Taco Bell nearby? You know?
I will take that over having to move. Like putting all my stuff in boxes and taking my stuff out of boxes and deciding where it goes is worse than not having a Taco Bell nearby.
I'm just saying, adjusting to a new location can also suck. That's all.
It can. It certainly can.
It's not a great
Dollarville
call.
says that he understands both schools of thought. And
I mean,
he recently moved onto a giant hill.
To be fair, I'm entirely on your side for this move, as I am moving less than a mile away.
There you go. That's fun. So
Yeah.
the second aspect doesn't even come into this. It's
No.
simply taking your stuff, putting it in boxes, and then
boxes.
unboxing it
Yes.
later. Yeah.
As people can see, I have a box right there filled with all of my records. Yeah.
Gross.
Yep. Woo.
Blech. Blech, blech. All right. Well, good. Do you want to talk about the Captain America movie that you watched?
Yeah. Brave New World. Having to make sure I don't say Brave New World for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons.
Obvious reasons. Yeah, so you have not watched the movie, but I hear you've listened to a podcast about it. What did they say?
They said it was bad. It was not the worst Marvel movie of all time, but it is in the ballpark, is what the general consensus was.
I think it's like miles above being something like a. I'm gonna consider superhero movies not strictly MCU, so stuff like Madam Web or Morbius. It is leagues better than that. It has.
So the argument that I heard is that Madame Web at least has like weird stuff in it and stuff that's unintentionally funny, and that Captain America: Brave New World is just like played super straight, and there's nothing funny about it, and there's nothing like, well, that was a weird idea that they tried to execute. They don't even try anything.
They do not try anything, and it is entirely played straight. I don't think there's any jokes.
Yeah.
But
So for that reason, like people, I'm just saying, their opinion was, I'd rather watch Madame Web because at least I'm laughing at the movie. Maybe they're not trying to make me laugh at the movie, but I am. Whereas with Brave New World, it's like, this is boilerplate MCU. We are shooting this on a sound stage. We are using cue cards. Like, nothing about this is interesting and different at all.
I mean, I can see that, but I think that ignores that there's actually a half-decent conspiracy movie going on, right?
Okay, because that's what I heard. They tried to make it a political thriller, but everybody I talked to or listened to was like, they tried, I guess.
They tried, and I think there is like the bones of something decent. I would love to see a cut of this movie without what's the actor for Gus Fring?
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah. He's in it, and he's like not super pivotal. He plays like a guy for hire who's like doing some evil stuff. But he, at like a midpoint in the movie, he gets arrested and agrees in exchange for like, I don't know, not going to the raft prison or whatever. He'll give up his employer. And that's about it. And I'm like, okay, so the movie kind of hinges on him giving them some information. What does this movie look like without the reshoots that added him? You know?
Right. Because they filmed the whole movie, and they're like, we need something else. What about Giancarlo Esposito? And they're like, okay. And they tossed him in there after the movie was already done shooting, and you can tell from what I've heard.
I mean, his action scenes are probably the best. The ones with him.
Good.
So like they one of the things that they might have said this movie needs is a decent action film, like action moment.
That's actually another thing I heard, was that the initial shoot of it was like 2 action scenes in 2 hours, and they were like, we need more action than this. So they chucked a bunch of stuff in.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, so my main thoughts is the movie is not that bad. It's nothing special. It's not awful. I don't recommend you go see it if you aren't really interested. But its biggest strength and its biggest weakness is that it comes from a place of continuity, where it's like, okay, we have all these leftover characters and ideas, let's mishmash them together. And it's like, the idea that we're here for the continuity of the MCU should be its biggest strength, right? But it comes off very weak, you know? It's like...
Yeah, I've heard they're like, remember the Eternals with the giant celestial sticking out of the earth? Let's put that in here. And Adamantium is coming. The X-Men are coming. Let's throw that in here. And remember Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Let's explore some of those themes too. Let's bring back Bradley. Yeah.
Yeah, so Bradley's actually really good because he's a guy who does not like any part of the administration, right? Like, he was put in prison for 30 years unjustly and rightly has a chip on his shoulder about it. The Falcon, Captain America convinces him to attend a party at the White House. You know, it'll be like a formal meet and greet with the president and maybe some reparations and they say sorry and stuff like that. So that's why he agrees to come. And so this guy with a chip on his shoulder is suddenly attempts to kill the president, and you go, oh, that's a great use of a piece for like a mastermind pulling the strings, because it turns out it's mind control. It's like, that's really clever. So it's like, okay, great. You have this character who has intentions and motivations that make sense for what you're having him do, except the rest of the movie just kind of is around it. You know, it's that one little isolated thing. The rest of it doesn't make sense. Turns out the bad guy mind controls 5 people to try and kill the president at that moment, and he was just one of them. It's like, okay, he makes sense. Do we investigate the other 4 people? No. They're just dudes in the White House.
So he just like grabs people who are already at the White House every day.
No.
And then he's like, this Bradley guy might actually show up for this party, so let's mind control him.
No, so there is a part of it where it's like this person needs to have like the medical records of this person and like intense scans. And so the idea is that like when Bradley was imprisoned, all this information made its way to this guy, and so he was able to do some science bullshit to be like, I can now show you a bunch of flashing images or sounds, and your brain will react in a way that I can get you to do whatever I want. So he
Turing
has
candidate stuff, yeah.
He has some like prerequisites that he needs, so it couldn't have been literally anybody. But the fact that Bradley makes sense is everything else. It's all the stuff from some other property that you have to have seen for it to make sense, right? And this is Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show, right? Because that's where Bradley shows up. But there's also just, like, a bunch of references to other TV shows and stuff. And it's like, okay, I guess that happened. And if you haven't seen it, it just falls flat.
Okay, so, I mean, like what?
Like the Eternals thing, like the giant robot sticking out of its head. The fact that the guy at the end, the Red Hulk, is... was in the Hulk movie. Like, there's clips from the Hulk movie, and it's like, okay, most people don't even consider that real MCU. Like, it's not really on anyone's watch list, so you don't care when, is it Liv Tyler shows up? For her cameo. She's not even in the movie.
Yeah, she's, she's Harrison Ford's daughter, right?
Yeah, and she shows up for one scene. Right.
So weird.
Captain America has a sidekick who is supposedly taking on the role of the Falcon. You only know him if you're there. If you watch the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I assume it's that guy. He's really annoying, and I guess he's trying to be annoying, but he's not great. Bucky shows up for one scene and is like, "You can do it." Gives a little speech to Captain America, and Captain America goes, "Oh, I guess your speechwriters wrote that for you." And I'm like, what? And it's like, oh, Bucky's running for Senate.
What?
Yeah, so I was like, what the fuck is that? Hold on. And then I was like, but I've seen the Thunderbolts trailer. Is he running for Senate before or after the Thunderbolts?
Right. Is he running for Senate before or after he joins this group of anti-heroes? Also, well after he was a Russian brainwashed asset murdering important political figures around the world for several decades.
Yep.
He killed Tony Stark's mom and dad.
Uh-huh. It's not his fault. People don't know that.
What?
I don't know that that's public information. He can run for Senate. As long as nobody digs that information up, he's fine. He's an Avenger.
Okay, so as far as the general public knows, Bucky was a prisoner of war in World War II.
I guess?
A friend of Steve Rogers.
Uh-huh.
Popped back up around 2015.
Uh-huh.
Hasn't aged.
Yep.
And
neither is Steve, so
he's
that's fine.
And he's a senator now.
Yeah.
No, Steve hasn't either, but we have a reason for that. He's a super soldier. Like, what was the story about Bucky?
He's also a super soldier.
Oh, okay, fine.
He's a super soldier with a robot arm.
Yeah, he is.
So that happens, and you're supposed to go, oh, okay, sure. There's a moment where Sam has a bunch of vibranium stuff in his suit now, and they're just like, yeah, I heard he got a hookup from the Wakanda. It's like, okay, thank you for explaining that. You didn't need to. We recognize it.
No.
And especially because at the start of the movie, it sets up that he has that Black Panther, like, force-absorbing purple glow to it, where you can, like, absorb a bunch of hits and then redirect all the energy.
Yeah, Black Panther suit. Yeah.
Never uses that except until like the very last moment of the fight. It's like there's a ton of fights where you can see it glowing because it's taking hits, and continuity says it has to glow when it takes hits, but he never uses it until like the very last minute of the entire movie in all the fights. Yeah, stuff sometimes falls apart. There was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's like, oh, I need money, loan, a bank, please give loan. And then they're like, no. And here he's like, okay, well, I have several cars and a secret hideout base. Really nice cars as well. It's like, I don't understand what his like organizational level is. Is he on the military payroll? Is he still an Avenger? The president asked him to reform the Avengers. What happened to the Avengers? Like, did they just formally disband?
Well, Steve's on the moon and Tony's dead.
Sure, but somebody could have taken over the role. What happened to the young Avengers that they had going?
The baby ones?
Wasn't there at the end of the movie where they're like, hey, look at all these other people we have doing the Avengers now? Like, I was about to say, where's Black Widow? But I know where Black Widow is.
See, this is hard.
Why isn't the Hulk involved in the Avengers?
Why isn't Professor Hulk leading the Avengers?
Yeah.
Fair question.
Yep. Where's Happy Hogan?
Apparently, according to the Deadpool movie, he's hanging out in like Avengers Tower and like chilling.
Exactly.
Pretty much it.
So, there's it's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah.
It is not worth the 10 minutes we've already talked about it.
That's fine. So here's my question.
Uh-huh.
I understand there's a part of the show where they're like, Sam Wilson, you should take the super soldier serum so that you're strong like Steve was.
Right.
And he's like, ooh, I don't know. Where does that go?
That is not in this movie.
Not at all?
They talk about it as if it was something in something else. Where they offered it to him and he turned it down.
Oh, okay. So at this point, he's at peace with it. He turned it down and he's like, I don't need it.
Yes and no. Like, it comes up where he starts to feel like a little outgunned, and it's like, okay, I could have really used this, and like everything's feeling so much bigger than just one guy, and that's part of where Bucky's speech comes in, and he like, Steve gave someone everyone could hope for, but you give them something to aspire to because you're just a human doing human things, right? Other people can achieve what you're doing. But nobody could be Steve
Assuming
Rogers.
they have $800 million of military equipment and vibranium. But sure, yep, anyone can do what you do, Sam.
Yes.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, this movie sucks. Cool.
Yep.
Ooh, so compare it to another movie in the MCU. There are like 35 MCU movies. It's not Madame Web. What is it?
It's better than Quantumania. The Ant-Man movie.
Better than Quantumania.
Yeah, where's Ant-Man, by the way? Why isn't he on the Avengers? What about Spider-Man? Why isn't he taking over the Avengers? Like, are you asking like what it's equal to?
Uh-huh.
I would put it in league with the TV shows, right? It's
Oof. Oof. So is it just like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the movie?
Yeah, if Falcon and the Winter Soldier didn't have the Winter Soldier.
So it's worse. So it's like WandaVision? What TV shows are you talking about?
I'm thinking like Hawkeye. Where,
Hawkeye.
you know,
It's like a movie version of Hawkeye.
There's some moments. There's some,
Yeah.
okay bits, and there's some like just really boring. Okay, we're gonna have a fight scene now between the U.S. military and the Japanese Navy. Okay, let's get
Why
this
are we
over.
mad at Japan? What happened?
Japan, being pretty close to the Indian Ocean, has tried to monopolize adamantium, where the celestial guy tried to climb out of the earth.
Oh,
And so Harrison Ford's presidentship is hinging on setting up a treaty between a whole bunch of countries, and like India and France are going to pull out if they can't get Japan on board. And Japan's like, oh, but we had adamantium and you stole it from us just so you could, like, again, it's part of the political thriller where maybe the U.S. Organized an attack on a Japanese base to obscure like an adamantium sample, then had Steve Rogers get it back so that they could look good for the treaty, being like, look, we're participating, we're giving, we can help defend you, sign on to the treaty.
They had old Steve do it?
No. I say Steve, I meant Captain America. New Captain America. Sam.
You meant Sam.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Old Steve,
I was like,
Old
dang.
Steve does not appear in this movie.
Yeah. Is he on the moon? Do they reference him where he is at all?
No.
Okay. Because
Why is he on the moon? What do you want about?
I don't know. Because in friggin' Secret Invasion, they said he was on the moon. I don't know.
Oh, it's probably better than Secret Invasion, from what I watched of that.
Oh, again,
Forgot that
low
TV show
bar,
existed.
but fair. Yeah, right.
This is not a movie I would forget exists. But it's not a good. It's not great. Right, like it's slightly above the
Okay.
the TV shows you would forget, but below anything memorable. It's a weird spot.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a weird spot.
Okay.
Yep.
Enough of that. Boo.
Boo. Boo.
Boo. Boo. Severance is happening.
Oh yeah, how is Severance?
Omicron can't do Severance because Apple TV doesn't work in Australia,
Let
apparently.
me try Apple TV one more time right now.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, how's Severance going? Talk to me
It's
about
good. It is good. It is. I think it's continuing to pace well. I think we're getting answers to questions. I think we're getting closer to answers to the big questions. I feel like if by the end of season 2 we don't know exactly what the work is that they're doing, then I will be surprised and kind of mad.
Okay.
Because that's kind of the big mystery. Is like, why is this severance process so necessary? Why do we need to keep what these people are doing so secret from the outside world? What is it exactly?
Mm-hmm.
And if we find out, that'll be nice.
It still doesn't work.
Okay,
I can
cool.
click on things all I want. When I go to the home page and I see Severance being like, hey, new season, watch now. I click it, does nothing. If I middle mouse button to like open a new tab, it'll open it that way. And but then on that screen I can't click on anything. Yeah.
You tried different browsers?
Yeah, I've tried different browsers, different internet connections. It's Apple's garbage. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't have any trouble with it in the web browser over here in America, but that's because we are American, I guess. Anywho, yeah, so Severance, that's about it. That's all I really want to say about that. Invincible Season 3 is happening right now.
Oh, are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it. I think the pacing is good. I think they're going places with it.
That's important.
Yeah. There's an interesting... I mean, this has been kind of a thoroughfare of the entire show, is Mark and his dad's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Where, he looks up to his dad a lot before the show starts, and then his dad turns out to be a bad guy at the end of season 1, and he's like, oh... Like, how do I deal with this? Like, I'm still my father's son. I'm going to turn out like him. I'm half Viltrumite. I'm really worried about this. He kills people. I'm not going to kill people, Mark says, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then in season 3, he runs into a situation where there's a supervillain who's directly threatening his mom and is like going to kill her and is super powered. And so Mark basically goes nuts and wails on him and kills him kind of like accidentally. Because he, he's like, you said you were stronger. I just wanted to beat the shit out of you. I didn't realize I would kill you, and then I did, and now I'm my dad. And how am I going to reconcile this? And it totally sucks. And at the same time, he's getting extra pissy at everybody around him. Like, he's getting super grumpy about stuff. So it's just kind of like, maybe he is kind of turning into Nolan. And I think that's kind of interesting to see, because on the other side of it too, the dude that he kills is a multiversal traveler, and he says in almost every other multiverse, you join your dad when he turns bad and you subjugate Earth. As like a 15-year-old, you do this. And so there's the question of, is our Mark gonna end up there too? Yeah.
Right. Is this show been like, yeah, there are other universes, but there's like a limited number? Or has this been like, well, there's potentially infinite amounts?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They haven't used the word infinite, I don't think, but that's kind of the implication of the multiverse, right?
Right. Well, kind of.
Yeah. So it could be bad sample sizing. He's visited 50 different multiverses. Mark's bad in all of them, but that 50 are the only 50 in the entire multiverse where Mark is bad, right?
Right.
Entirely possible.
Yeah. That's kind of the problem. And if it's infinite,
Yeah.
and you spend your lifetime jumping between universes, killing Mark just to make sure he doesn't become a dictator, you've made statistically no impact, right?
Right. He's kind of nuts. Like, I appreciate that. He's not this like rational being that's doing this. He's just because the other versions of himself have been subjugated by Mark, and his family's been killed by them, or he's been killed by them in these other multiverses. So it's very personal for him, and I don't think he's planning, like, I don't think he thinks he can get rid of all the Marks. I don't. But he's just doing it because he's avenging his dead family, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Also, with Mark getting like kind of pissy at people, it is kind of important to note that Mark is like 17 and his brain is not fully formed. Right?
Yes. He's a freshman in college. His brain is not fully formed.
So it's like I think it's pretty important for I would hope the show touches on that like he is grappling with issues he's just not capable of truly deciphering. That like even all the grown-ups in the world can't come to an agreement on how violence should be used as a response to things, right? Like that's not something we can come to a consensus on. He as a 17-year-old superhero shouldn't be expected to know where that line is and whether or not, if you hit someone and you think they can take it but they can't, how at fault you should be and how terrible he should feel and what that means for the rest of his superhero career. Having already hit someone, he should probably have a good long think about what if he's capable of living with that, like, again, and for the rest of his life.
Definitely. And that's something he's trying to figure out for sure.
Yeah.
So another interesting thing about the show is that they're kind of quantifying his power levels.
Oh, they have power levels.
Previously, it's like he can fly and he's strong and he can take a lot of power, like beatings, and not die. And it's like, okay, neat. So basically, the Earth Defense Force is like, okay, the Viltrumites are coming to conquer Earth. We're gonna fight them. You're our best weapon. Let's train you so you're as good as you can be.
Sure.
So they have this like Rocky montage where they have him like lifting icebergs and like going to the moon and coming back and timing how fast he goes. And at the end of it, they're like, all right, he's increased his speed by 35% and his strength by 27%. And I'm like, is that how this works? You could just like do dumbbell curls and your Viltrumite powers get better? This is amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I assume Viltrumite's power is all biological, right? Like if humans can go to the gym and work out, why shouldn't Viltrumites be able to?
They're aliens. I didn't know, but apparently that's how it works. So hey, they're aliens.
Okay, so we were talking about this on StarCraft stream on the weekend, and I compared the moral struggle that Mark's going through to a book series that I'm reading called Anita Blake.
Yeah.
And in it, there's a whole bunch of vampires, and every now and then she comes across a character who's like Buzz the Vampire Bouncer, right?
Yeah.
Who she describes as someone who's clearly been like lifting weights, and she's like, I don't see the point. Being a vampire gives you the strength to like lift a Toyota. What's the point of lifting weights? It's kind of redundant. And I think it's really funny we're hitting that same point where it's like, are they getting their powers supernaturally or physically? Can you improve by working out if you're a vampire?
Well, apparently in Anita Blake you can, and you can in Invincible as well. So the whole Viltrumite backstory that Nolan gives us is that the Viltrumites beat each other to death. And the strongest ones got to be true Viltrumites. So was it the ones that like went to the gym that won? Well, I kind of assumed it was just like this natural gift. Some were kind of stronger than others, and well, I don't know, man.
All things considered equal, right? If all Viltrumites could lift the same amount of strength, they could run the same speed or fly the same speed, then the ones that are going to win in a brawl are the ones with more fighting experience. That is not nature. That is nurture.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So that I can understand, too. Your life experiences. You spent more time in battle. You know how to fight.
Yeah.
But that's different from... I did leg presses this week, you know?
Right, but like that's also
weird.
Experience though. Like that is
the amount kind of.
And also, I mean, the idea of like let's kill everyone and the strongest survive and they get to be the real ones is really stupid because they have like a giant free for all and it's like you could have been the strongest Viltrumite, but 5 others attacked you, each grabbed a limb and pulled you apart. It's like it's an entirely meaningless set of rules to govern your society by.
Viltrumites are not seen to be smart at all, ever. There's never a point where you're meant to understand they are brilliant people. They are just really strong and fast and powerful. Yeah. There's a spoiler for the most recent episode of season 3. You don't care.
I don't know.
Nobody here cares. But basically Nolan says the secret about the Viltrumite Empire is that there's only 50 of them left.
Oh, really?
That their entire empire is being run by 50 of them, and they're trying desperately to hold their empire together because they can't be everywhere at once. That's why only one of them ever shows up to any planet at a time.
I mean, that makes sense, but that's also really stupid.
Okay.
Like, okay... How do you, if you have an empire of 50 people, you can be on a total of 50 planets at any given time, right? If only one goes there. That means if you go to one of the other planets and conspire with that person, you can overthrow the rest of the entire civilization between the two of you, one person at a time.
Yep.
That's, like, when they were deciding to slaughter their entire population, did they not set a limit, like top 100, top 1,000, top 10?
I don't know. I imagine that's the last thing that is said in the episode. I imagine there will be follow-up questions.
Right, because we know Omni-Man can reproduce with humans and bug ladies, can't they?
Yeah, but he's not supposed to. It's unsanctioned reproduction. Right,
but like that's got to be really hard to keep tabs on if you have 50 people.
Yes. Definitely.
How do you stop?
I don't know.
Like every Viltrumite on their own planet just goes, "Hey, I could breed myself an entire army here. I just got to find the species that reproduces the quickest."
Right.
What does that empire look like? Because like Rome had senators. Senators got rich, right? That kind of thing. Society's usually about shifting resources from one place to another. What does 50 people in an empire look like? Who are they sending? Like, they're not... Like, they conquer a planet for what purpose? There's nobody coming along to be like, okay, and here's the tithe collector. Because there's nobody there.
I think they're like, a ship's going to show up once every year, dump all your stuff onto it, and it's going to leave. And if you don't, we'll come kick your ass. I think they just automate the whole thing, honestly.
Like a robot ship.
Yeah, yeah.
But what are they doing? Who's using the resources? What?
Yeah, I don't know.
50 people is not enough. 50 people is a WoW guild, right? You know?
Yeah, maybe they're just oppressing for the sake of oppression. They just like take all this stuff and then just like it's in a box somewhere. It's in a giant cave system. They just dump it in there. They don't care. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's what they do. They just live to conquer. I don't know.
I mean, at least make them like Saiyans in Dragon Ball Z, where there's somebody just like pimping them out to destroy planets, you know?
Right. Right.
And
There
like,
is another civilization that like hires the Viltrumites as mercs.
right.
Yeah. Maybe that's happening. I don't know. Again,
Maybe.
I don't have any further information on this concept at all. I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. What is up, handsome Shrek? Okay, so that's it for Invincible. I do want to say too, you know how the whole Amber storyline in season 1, everybody was pissed off at her because for good reasons. His girlfriend at college. No. Okay, so he dates someone in college, and he tells her his secret identity.
Yeah, vaguely.
Right? And then they're on a date somewhere on campus hanging out, and these
Oh, right. And
this villain stuff attacks, and he bails to like save everyone's lives. And then she gets pissed because he bailed on them.
Right.
And everybody's like, this is entirely unreasonable. This character sucks. And
Hold
then
on,
they fixed her in season 2.
When you say everyone hates her, you mean the you mean the audience, not like people in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the situation you just described, I'm like, no, that makes sense. If you're in a like an invasion moment in campus and your boyfriend ditches you, right?
Uh-huh.
Just absolutely disappears, right? Like not he's getting out with everyone else, just absolutely disappears for no reason.
Not for no reason.
Well, no, from your perspective, from no reason, right?
No,
Working
you,
with the...
you know he's invincible. Invincible
she
shows up.
Oh, I thought this...
I told you that. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, I thought this was before he told her.
Nope. Nope.
Okay,
nope,
yeah,
nope.
no, that makes sense.
That's why
That
it's
makes more
stupid.
sense. Yeah, okay.
Because, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If she doesn't know that he's invincible, then 100%. Like, he's a dick. But she knows who he is. He shows up, saves the day, and she's like, why'd you leave us? And it's like, dude, honestly. So then in season 2, they kind of fix it. She's a much more interesting character and much less bitchy about things. And he's good, too. There's, like, this whole good back and forth thing, and it's cool. But then basically in season 3, a Viltrumite shows up, threatens her life, like, while she's there. Like, hand around her neck. Like, I'm going to snap this girl's neck if you don't have a conversation with me about what's going on here, Mark. So, absolutely traumatizes her 100%. Entirely understandably so. And she's basically like, can you promise that'll never happen again? And Mark's like, no. And he's like, I don't think this is going to work, man. And he's like, I don't think this is going to work, man. And the audience is like, I don't think this is going to work, man.
Okay, so they call it off?
They call it off. They break up mutually. And it's nice. They have a good adult conversation about it. And, like, everybody has a good perspective. And it's fantastic. It's so good. That's all.
No, good, yeah.
Okay.
She was not cut out for that life.
She was not. I'm not sure anybody is.
No, probably not.
No, poor Mark. Bad times. Having superhero powers is the worst.
Yeah.
Spider-Man knows. Yeah.
So does, what's his girlfriend that fell down a well? Or a clock tower?
Girlfriend that fell down a well.
The one that breaks a neck.
Oh, yeah. Gwen Stacy.
Gwen Stacy, that's it. I was thinking Gwen Stefani,
Yeah.
which is close, but I know it's not right.
Crazy close. Both blonde. That's about it.
Post up with Gwen, give me that.
Yeah. No, Spider-Man especially, consistently throughout Spider-Man's history, it's like, boy, supervillains sure like using my loved ones against me all the time. This is terrible. Like, yeah, it really is terrible. Yeah.
The problem is for Spider-Man is he saves them every time. So like, the villains know that he responds to it. You know.
Right.
That they can use these people against him.
Yeah. Because for some reason he cares about his loved ones. Weird.
Well, when you put it like that.
You just let a couple of them die, they'd stop doing it.
Well, yeah.
It's terrible. Oh, man.
All right.
All right.
Warhammer.
Warhammer. Let's
Warhammer.
go.
So we read. You're reading the omnibus, which has, fortunately, includes 2 short stories. One of which we read this week called "Thorn Wishes Talon."
Yeah. And last week we thought it was telling me to go read Thorn Wishes Talon.
It's included in the omnibus. So
it's right there. Yep.
Right there. So you get 5 stories for the price of 1.
What a deal. Yeah.
Such good deal.
Good value.
Such value.
Yeah. So that's just, again, a short story where everyone's favorite Inquisitor that nobody knows where he's been forever shows up and is like, so there's the thing that's going to happen. This demon's going to be born. I think you're going to be involved in this somehow. Be careful. And Ravenor's like, I don't know if I trust you. You've kind of been out there, and you're referring to your pet demon as a he instead of an it now. That seems weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get a glimpse at like over the edge Eisenhorn post Hereticus, where he's just kind of up and disappeared. He's still like doing inquisitory things. Like he still thinks he's a good guy. He's like in between where Ravenor is and where Quicksucks is. So he's like, I've got a pet demon. Trubal and I have an understanding. But it's a very clear look at like this is no longer an Inquisitor who has an entourage. He is the Spider-Man that let his friends die and just like, well, no more friends. They can't use those against me. I won't have them. I won't put them in danger because the Inquisition will not trust that I have a pet demon and use them against me. You know?
Yeah, that's sad.
A little bit, yeah. It's a little bit sad, especially when he's like, good to see you, Miss Swole and Harlan Mayo, members of his retinue that he had to like walk away from, who found a refuge with Ravenor, you know?
Yeah. And then he goes off to do solo Inquisitor things again.
Yeah. Well, he also introduces us to the Divine Frattery, who turn up and are a bit more important in the next book.
Yep.
Yep. People who scry the future and then do things to make it happen.
Yeah, bad stuff. Not good stuff. Bad stuff.
Bad stuff.
Yeah. They don't scry the future and like, an era of peace will fall upon this. Let's make this era of peace come to pass.
Well, from their perspective, it might lead to an era of peace.
Oh, it's always bad things. They specifically write that it's always bad things.
From my perspective, the Jedi are evil. Yeah, so that like interesting cult world build where they have one good eye and one robot eye, and they keep their good eye with an eye patch covering it so they can use it to like look into the future. You know, just Dan doing his world building stuff. Good on him.
Yep, stuff that has never shown up anywhere else in any other book, but here they are. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they show up in the next book, and that's what matters.
Right.
So
world building for his story.
Yeah, so that's basically the entire story of that book, where he's like, there's a demon coming, maybe. Something you do might trigger it. You might not. You might be there to stop it, but I don't know. Just, you know, be aware of this thing called Slight. Or Sleet. Or Slate.
Sleet or something. Something along those lines. I do like how imprecise it is. It's very funny.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a word that kind of sounds like this. We don't have any other details. Just watch out for it. It's very funny.
So, the actual next book, Ravenor Returned.
Yes.
Yes. So, Returned just means, like, they went back to Eustace Majoris. Like, that's where Returned means.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like this is the one book that I'd maybe agree with you that Dan Abnett does not title his books well.
Right.
Just this one. Just this one.
Okay,
I feel like
fine.
you missed the trick.
I'll take it. I'll take whatever you can give me. 100%.
Yep. So they have gone back to Eustace Majoris under special conditions where nobody he's not going there officially.
Because he's worried that this whole plot goes to the top of the government on Eustace Majoris and possibly even into the Inquisitorium at large.
That's true.
So he doesn't trust anyone. Yeah.
Yeah. We get more of the Imperium's greatest shipmaster, Sholto Onworth, who I'm sure you didn't skip over any of his dialogue.
Most of it, yes.
Of course you did. How dare you?
Look, man, he doesn't use words right.
He does use words right.
He does not. We established this. He does not.
No, but what he does do is get tortured a bunch and is surprisingly loyal. Like, he takes his inquisitorial contracting very seriously.
He does.
Man's got some backbone to him. Good on him.
I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm just saying the way he uses English is wrong.
It sounds like you're saying he's a bad person.
It's not a moral judgment. It's simply a fact.
Well, okay.
Anyway.
So what else happens in this book? Because this book feels like it's a very middle story book, right? Mm-hmm. We uncover more of a plot, and there's some good investigating going on by the Inquisition, and interestingly, some investigating by the bad guys. One of the factions of the bad guys also have to work out who's attacking them for what reasons.
I love that there were two different factions of bad dudes in this book, and they were working independently of each other and didn't know the other one existed.
Right.
And then were smashed into each other, and how that interaction went, I thought was really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. Because you expect that of the good guys, because the good guys are okay, there's the local cops, the Arbetes, the Inquisition. The Inquisition usually gets to say and command everything. In the first book, we had the cops, the local cops, and they were no, just delete all your files. You have Kara Swall, who's given the name Ravenor. Just delete the files. She's coming with us. They get to just bully the other departments, and we expect multiple good guys to be working on a case. But you don't expect multiple bad guys to be running schemes right next to each other.
Yeah, not at all. I did not see that coming. It was yeah.
Which really raises the question is the Divine Fraternity are trying to summon Slight. They're oh, Slight's coming. We need to make sure that happens. A new demon would be awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It'll ravage several planets at least. Yeah.
So they're Chaos Worshippers because Slight's a demon. That makes sense.
Yep.
What are the other bad guys? What is their moral?
They learned that Annuncia exists, and they would very much like to use Annuncia to rule everything.
Yeah. So
that's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but
right?
Yeah. But the Diadochoi, who turns out to be Moloch.
Yeah.
Isn't he a chaos guy?
Yeah, but he comes in later. He catches wind of what's going on and inserts himself into this whole project. And is very integral to it coming to pass, almost. Yes, but the initial plan was simply powerful people in the government being hey, this Annuncia thing is crazy cool. If we had control of an entire dictionary of Annuncia, we would be unstoppable.
Right.
That's all they care about. Yeah, and then yes, this guy comes in and he's I have some ways that we can do this, and they're oh, you seem to be very knowledgeable around this area. Come on in.
Because they're also shipping the glass. What is it called again?
Flex.
Flex. That's it. Yeah. So they're definitely shipping in Flex, which we know is chaos glass to get people high into, and as we learn, put demons in people.
Which
is an unfortunate byproduct. It's not what they want.
Talked about this on Friday. You are getting blown up.
I am. Sorry, hold on. Someone is asking me about my energy.
Also what?
My who's our energy provider here?
Oh.
Yeah.
That kind of
so
energy.
like I said, we're moving out, And that means people are moving in, and they're probably looking for a new energy provider. So, like, how much do we pay? And who are we with? That's all. So...
Got it.
I will quickly message her a little bit. But yeah, you were about to make a point about the demons in the glass.
Yeah, we were talking about this on Friday, and you were like, "No, the flecks are pretty harmless. Like, you know,
I
good looking
don't
there."
think I said. I
And
mean, here's the thing.
I said,
I was.
and it turns people into demons, and you're like, "No," and I was like, "But what?"
I wasn't sure what you were up to in the book because you didn't.
Thought so.
So, but here's the thing.
I wasn't there yet, but it was very clearly insinuating this was going to happen.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it does to Carl, but not to every user. Like,
I know.
Zale doesn't have a demon in him.
I know.
But he might have.
But how many demons do you have to unleash before this is a really bad thing?
One.
One. If it's the most powerful demon to be unleashed in a long time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay, fine. Fine. That happens.
So one of the ways that they're getting, like they're trying to work out a nuncio, is something that I thought was really interesting.
Me too.
Because, you mentioned that like on Severance, they're just like grouping numbers on a computer and they don't know what it's doing. We have an entire Hive Administratum complex dedicated to people just looking at random letters and numbers and seeing if they feel funny.
Yes, I tracked that too. I was like, this is where Severance got the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just they have all these people looking over literally randomly assorted letters and sounds. They've broken the language down into like the tiniest possible pieces possible and stringing them together, and then whatever causes the people reading them to like fall over dead or develop an aneurysm, they're like, that's probably something in Enuncia, and they grab it. It's insane.
Yeah.
And it's just like millions and millions and millions of words and sounds and things just packed together, and they're like, that would take, that would take hundreds of thousands of years. That would take longer than the lifespan of the galaxy. It's like, what if they had, millions of people? What if they had 60 of these logic machines?
Right.
That anyone's only ever seen like 20 of them in the same place before.
Right. So also it ties in with the flex, which is that they go into these forbidden planets to pull up possibly chaos-tainted machines, like computers. That's where they're getting all the parts.
Yeah.
And like all these logic engines. But
they don't care that it's chaos-tainted.
No, but that might be helpful because, like, is Enuncia warp magic power? I feel like it probably is. So getting something that's maybe chaos-tainted is actually helping them?
Maybe. I don't know if that's ever established, though.
No, I don't think so.
I just think it's funny that they were like, we need a lot of crazy powerful, GPUs to mine our crypto. Where can we get some? There aren't that many around here. These planets have been declared dead. They have computers laying around. We can go get those. You need to take a break?
No, it's fine.
You sure?
Yeah. No, it's fine. What I should do, my problem there was I locked my phone, which even though, because if I just left the message open, every time a new one come in, it wouldn't make a sound, and that's fine. That's all. I locked my phone, so we kept getting notifications. It's fine. The conversation's something I can deal with while we talk.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. She's
Oh,
supposed to be at work. Like, I don't understand what she's not doing.
Fair enough. But I kind of love the concept that these people are defying the Inquisition to get regular computers. I just love the idea. They don't care that it's warp tainted. They're not doing it for warpy, chaos worshipping things. Sure, maybe the warp taint helps them find Enuncia, but they're not doing it because they're worshipping Nurgle or something. Right. They just want the computing power.
Right, but like
so
these
great.
things are super rare and expensive, so that stealing it from an Inquisition, like a planet that's been barred by the Inquisition that you can't go to, is apparently easier than finding the money to pay for it. You know?
Yeah, it's just I like it. I like that idea very much.
It's great.
Yeah. Right. So that's the whole plan. They're trying to make a dictionary of an Annuncia, and the other guys are trying to bring forth Sleed, whatever.
Slide.
And I really like when they finally find each other, because the book is trying to make you think that the
Divine
which group is it? Is it Trice's group?
The Secretists?
Yeah, the Secretists have found Ravenor, because they know he's around. They figure it out, and they're like gonna go get the jump on him and kill him.
Right.
You think that's what it is, because they found this like unsanctioned psyker power going on, and it's in hiding, and clearly it's gonna be Ravenor. Mm-hmm. And then it's these other dudes. It's these cult worshipists, and they show in and like slaughter everybody. And you're like, oh, they went to the wrong place. And they're like, wait, none of these people are Inquisition people. None of these people are Ravenor. What is going on exactly? And it takes them a while to figure out what's going on. And they've killed everyone at this point, except for like the guy in charge, basically. And the guy in charge is like, so what's up? And they're like, why do you act like you have bargaining power? And he's like, well, I've got this thing where if I don't send a coded message every hour on the hour to this, whatever, this banking system, then blah, blah, blah. It sends a message to the police and everything goes to pot.
Right. To the Inquisition.
And they're like, so let's make a deal. Like, I won't do that. You give me what I want. I'll give you what you want. We can kind of work together here. Yeah. And then it's a bluff, which is awesome. Like, so good. I really liked that. And then the fact that they basically say, yeah, we're trying to bring about this demon. You don't have to worry about it. It's a little baby demon. It's not going to mess with your plans at all. It's a little baby. It'll get bigger eventually, but by that time, you'll be done. You'll have your Annuncia. It'll be fine.
And they're like, demons away.
Sounds right. We don't know anything about birthing demons. Oh man, these books have funny things in them. I thought that was so good.
Yeah, I really liked the bluff. I liked that the guy basically it's called into the Divine Fraternity as like a fixer. He's the very first bad guy that Eisenhorn kills in the first book is like this guy who goes from cult to cult, just like solving their problems. And this is like another one of him where it's like, you're trying to summon a demon, but there's some people maybe getting in the way. Well, I have a demon in my pocket that just needs a couple souls to feed, and it'll go kill the guy. And it's like, oh, they're using Annuncia. And then he's like, well, I guess I could bluff my way in and maybe get my hands on Annuncia. That would be cool. You know? Yeah.
As long as I'm here. Just like the coolest of a customer, too. Because, yeah, like these dudes, these incredibly powerful, strong dudes have selected and killed everybody. And they're like, you're next. And he's like, not worried about it. Here, you want a drink? Like, this is fine. And they're like, you are surprisingly calm and cool and collected. What is going on with you? And yeah, he's a fixer. It's what he does. He's a chill guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, and then this book tries to make you think that Zale is housing Slide. What do we want to call it?
Slight.
We'll call it Slight. Okay.
Yep.
Is housing Slight. Except they totally give you the fact that frickin'
Carl's got it.
Carl's rings are busting off his fingers. His hands are getting big. And it's like, that sounds like demons busting out of a human body to me. I've read some Warhammer books.
Right.
Additionally, his entire attitude about everything is changing. His personality is changing. He's wearing way more jewelry for some reason.
He's always been kind of foppish and had lots of jewelry, right? Like he's always prided himself at looking his best at all times.
Yes.
But he's gone really excessive. He has like 30 rings on one hand and none on the other.
Yeah. And all I wanted was for Ravenor to be like, this change in personality and behavior is a little concerning. But he doesn't The whole time, he's like, nah, it's fine. This is something Carl would totally do. And I was like, I mean, maybe, sure. Like, maybe this is totally normal. Maybe this is Carl. I get that. But I just wanted a moment where Ravenor's like, I should maybe look into this a little bit.
Well,
yeah?
maybe, but, like, Ravenor trusts his people, right?
I know, but maybe he shouldn't, because holy shit.
And he's also maybe he also very much attributes Thonius's, like, response to his failure on Cowboy Planet in the last book is him, like, turning a new leaf and trying to be actually, like, a more hands-on guy.
Yeah.
And he definitely thinks that when, like, he starts shooting people when they start to get invaded, and, like, oh, no, are they invading? I don't remember when, but, like, Ravenor's wearing Matthew, and he's like, oh, you dressed up, and he's like, oh, you're one to talk, Ravenor, because he's, like, wearing Matthew.
Right.
But he's, like, shooting people very quickly. He's just, like, he seems much more, like, I don't know, familiar with violence at that point, rather than, like, capable, but still much more of an intellectual interrogator. And so Ravenor just thinks it's, like, him growing into the role. And the rings, well, they could be digital weapons, all of them, armed to the fingertips, I guess.
Yeah.
So, you know, not necessarily an issue.
I know, not necessarily, but it would have borne some really interesting results if you'd maybe looked into this.
Yeah, let's just spy on all of our people, okay?
Falcon's
good for mass surveillance, guys. Put that down in his campaign speech. Mass surveillance, look into everyone.
Dude, he's an inquisitor. That's literally what he does.
Yes.
Don't try to tell me that's weird behavior out of an inquisitor.
Well, look, an inquisitor's got to trust his team, otherwise they piss off. Like, Ravenor gives them all the option to leave. He goes and, like, visits them in their dreams to be like, look, we're getting up to a point of no return. If you, like, this is the last exit. If you want out, here's that time. He genuinely cares about these people, right?
Uh-huh.
And doesn't want to invade their privacy.
Mm-hmm. I know.
But you think he should?
A little bit. If there's reason to look into it. Like a major change in personality with one of your people.
I don't know. He just started wearing some rings. Like, he went through a traumatic event, started eating slightly more sloppy, and starts wearing some rings. Is that cause for alarm?
Not eating more sloppily, like piling his plate with food, eating with his hands, which are two things he never did. He's like, no. Right. Like, Carl picks at his food at meal times. And all of a sudden, he's piling his plate with leftovers from the fridge and, like, chowing down an entire turkey leg and getting kind of pissed off that Ravenor's like, leave the food, it'll sleep with you here when you come back.
Right. It's really hard to argue the other side at this point, even just for fun, as I'm doing, right? Like, obviously you're right. Yeah, just look into his freaking mind.
Okay.
But because the entire book is written... Well, not the entire book. A lot of the book is written from Ravenor's perspective. So you know all the arguments I can make, because the counter ones are the things that Ravenor points out, but still doesn't do it. You know?
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough. I don't know.
It's tough, but I mean, maybe he should have, absolutely, but honestly, I don't think maybe that's what we're learning in this book, that Ravenor, despite being a powerful inquisitor and, you know, very experienced, and he's gone through traumatic things himself, is naive to the possibility of an inside person on his own team. Like, he's just still kind of young as an inquisitor. This is Eisenhorn before we knew him, even, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, back where he just kind of thinks his people are above suspicion, right? Maybe maybe that's the moral of the story. Is like, on the other side, we're going to see Ravenor not trust as many people or be more rigorous in, like, mind scanning them more frequently.
Not just as a matter of course. I don't want him, like, intruding in his people's minds every morning at 6 a.m. Like, any sign of warp taint today? Here we go. Like, I don't need that. But if there's a major personality change or something crazy happens with them, around a little bit, see what's going on. That's all.
Yeah, maybe.
If you have cause,
If you have cause, yeah.
you can get a warrant from a judge.
He's the judge.
Yeah, he is. That's the problem. It's the whole problem with this whole system. Yeah, so that's all. So yeah, it turns out that Carl, through Flecked usage, became home to a really, really, really powerful demon.
Yeah,
Fancy.
A powerful
That
demon that
sucks.
seems to be like sleeping sometimes. Like he's not doing a whole
Yeah.
lot in him. I don't know that he's able to control it, but he certainly thinks he might be able to.
He thinks he can, which is number one rule of dealing with warp demons. You can't fucking control them.
But what if he
Freaking
could?
Carl,
What if he
dude.
could? What if he's the guy that actually can? Imagine how useful that would be, Falcon.
Incredibly
he cured
useful, Carl.
Kara Swell's cancer.
He sure did.
Yeah. Like
Which-
that's a good guy move, right? Also,
Yep. And he didn't kill her, which is another good guy move.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
I didn't kill you, my friend. Isn't that great? Obviously, I'm good. I didn't kill my friends. Also, I'd like to point out, I like the good, just the consequences of Kara's actions in the previous book, where she was like, I've got to get in this suit. I hope it's shielded. And the next one, it's like, oh, you have massive amounts of cancer because of all the radiation.
Super cancer. You're going to die in like 3 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I did like that a lot because they're like, hey, this decision that was made in the previous book that didn't seem like it was a big one. It turns out it was a big one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good. And she met Belkin. You know, she gets to be super into a doctor. Isn't that neat? Not Belkin. Belknap.
Belknap.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty neat. I'm trying to figure out what their relationship is right now.
I mean, I think that
She's
their
like, I'm into
relationship-
you, and he's like, I'd like to fuck you real bad, but I can't, so bye. And it's like, wait, what is going on here exactly?
Look, the nature of their relationship is grim dark bait. They're setting up something like a nice romance so that Dan Abnett can tear it into like tiny little pieces in the next book. That has to be what it is. Nobody gets a happy ending in an inquisitorial story.
That's true, but I was expecting it to be like a romantic thing. I was expecting her to be like, hey, I think about you this way. And he's like, hey, I think about you this way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I mean, right now we're going off to die. So, like, let's not do anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead, he's like, I'm withholding that part of myself because, okay, see you later.
Because she's dying.
Oh, is that why?
I think that's what we're supposed to take. That he's like, I
can't get involved with you.
You're dying, and I'm keeping that secret for you as well, right? Like,
Sure.
I think it's him trying to do the right thing, as we've been shown that this guy likes to do. He's lost his Medicaid license for defrauding the system.
Trying to do the right thing? Yeah.
So he's like, it would be really inappropriate for me to get involved with my patient who I'm about to be treating for terminal cancer. That's
fair.
I think that's
like,
the reason.
I don't want to go down this road because I'll get emotionally involved to the point where losing you would be too painful.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
That's
I get
fair.
that.
That's fair.
Yeah. Good stuff. That's good.
A lot of great characters in this book.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great stuff.
So just real quick. Why am I having so much trouble with Carl's name? It's because I don't think it's a Warhammer name.
Carl.
My brain has the name Carl over here, and then the Warhammer box is right here. Yeah.
It's like, okay, who are the characters in the story? Okay, there's Ravenor, Harlan, Patience Kiss, Zeph Matthewen, and Carl.
And Carl, yeah.
Carl hanging out at Moe's Tavern. You know? Hey,
That's why. Every time I think of him, I'm like, what's this guy's name again? Why can't I remember it?
Just go
his
with
name's Carl.
Thonius. Just call him Thonius.
That's actually a really good idea. Thonius it is.
Thonius.
All he did was use Flex, and that opened the door for a massively powerful demon to hop in.
The demon was in the glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is just, you're peering into the warp. If the piece of the warp you're looking at happens to contain a massive demon, he can hop into your body if he wants.
So I don't think they're looking directly into the warp. I think each of the glass contain warp residue. So, right, it's the difference between, like, looking into the ocean and looking into a cup, right?
Okay.
So
Fine.
The demon was in the glass, right? So he gets
like
that...
trapped?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or went in there willingly.
So he's like hanging out in the warp and everything's cool, and then there's an explosion and everything shatters and he's trapped in a shard of glass.
Maybe, yeah.
That sucks. Okay.
It sucks for him.
I feel bad for the demon. Demons are not cool, but I feel bad for that one. Uh-huh.
Don't tell the Inquisition that you can trap demons in glass by nuking the planet. They'll start. They'll go on a rampage.
They'll do it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he gets that lucky piece of glass. Looks into it.
Yeah.
The eyes are the gateway to the soul, as they say. And the demon hops on in, but is weak and malnourished and goes to sleep a lot. Yep.
Has to eat a lot of turkey legs.
Yes.
Is that it?
Is
he eating because it helps, like, strengthen the demon? Do demons eat food? Does that help them?
I mean, if he's drawing life essence from the host, then anything that restores life essence feeds the demon.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's how I'm interpreting that.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, at the climax of the story, the people that want the Annuncia Dictionary that have this whole big ceremony ready to go for it.
Right. They discover that the entire Hive City is built on Chaos Worshipper plans, and it's like the entire city is the ritual site, you know?
Yep. This like super ancient city planner was a crazy Chaos Worshipper and was allowed to build all of these cities on all of these different planets. And eventually he got discovered and executed, and they tried to get rid of all the work that he did. They missed some. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Eustace Majoris is one.
Yeah. And so the bad guy, the secretists who want Annuncia are doing some ritual with Annuncia to do a thing. Is that the gist of it? Like, I'm not gonna lie, this feels like like, Dan wraps his books up very quickly. The last 40 minutes
today's the day.
Runs, you know?
Right. Today is the day, here's where everything happens, and it's over. Like, wait, what? Hold on.
What? Yeah. So they want to do a ritual, and there's this person called the Diadochoi who's been, like, the planetary governor, but he's got a secret face. Like, that's his public face, but we don't know who he really is, so he's, like, a masked evil dude. And they're like, hey, let's do this ritual or whatever, using the entire city. And then it turns out it's Zygmunt Molich from the first book.
Right.
Who died.
He's back. Right.
Who was he again? Oh, you're muted. What happened?
Oh, am I?
Oh, nope. There you are. You're back. I just missed everything what you said. That's all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
anyway,
he's back somehow.
He's back. He's someone. I feel like Zygmunt Molich was the guy on the October Country who was like, well, Ravenor, you're stuck on a ship that has no shields, and we're about to blow you up. Goodbye, Mr. Bond. Except, you know, Ravenor did the mind thing and shot a missile into their ship. Yeah. So I think we're supposed to think he's dead. And then it turns out he's not dead. He's alive. And is trying to become a god by using Annuncia and an entire city as a ritual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's pretty much it. So they're trying to... So I guess their plan is to set up a bunch of explosions planet-wide to make it seem like they're under attack, to distract the, like, legitimate law enforcement and government officials that are on the planet, and give them time to get this thing rolling. And then Ravenor and his team are like, we got to stop this. And they show up, and they happen to bring along with them a massive demon named Slight, who smashes their entire dictionary to pieces.
Yep.
And ruins their whole plan.
Yes. But he does
Bad times.
get healed from all his scars. So that's neat.
It's okay,
yeah,
I guess.
he escapes at the end, doesn't he? Like he's like, "You'll never catch me alive," and leaves. Right?
I think so. I don't know. It was very fast.
It's very quickly. Look, I'm looking at a list of all the characters on tvtropes.org
Yeah.
to look at like what tropes this guy had, and it's saying forcing him and Orfeo to retreat. So I think he gets away.
Classic.
Yeah. So the problem with Zygmunt Molich as the villain is by his reveal in the last 10 pages of the book. I've forgotten who he was.
Uh-huh. Totally. He needs to stop doing this. He needs to stop being like, here's the bad guy. They say some things and now they're gone. Like, but...
But
Spend
Dan,
some time.
please.
Yeah.
Please, Dan. Nobody's putting a word cap on these books.
Yeah. Well, additionally, too, like, Zeph dies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't get any time to mourn Zeph.
No.
None.
It's just
like,
go,
Ravenor
go, go.
gets really pissed off for, like, 5 seconds.
He'll
and
mourn
then
him later.
never talks about him again.
He'll mourn him later when there's time. Like, you're in the middle of an emergency, you just put it aside.
Yeah.
We do get a little bit of a wrap up, which is that like mass riots and instability in the entire planet basically kept going for years and years, and like decades later, its effects can still be felt from like famines and plagues and other just like war bullshits happening and chaos cults springing up because of it. And and Gideon Ravenor has a moment where he's like, yeah, so I was talking to the doctor, and the doctor urged me to stay and like help sort it out, but I gotta go get Moloch. Like I can't stick around here. He's my quarry.
Says, that's not my skill set.
It's not. It's not his skill set, but it's still something
settle
he
planets
could do.
down.
He could do it though, and he has a moment where he's like, "I'm leaving this planet to sort its shit out, and people will die because of it, but more people will die if I don't go after Moloch." Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just I feel like the cost for Ravenor is he feels a bit bad that people are gonna die because of him leaving here. Like he understands that, and like it's hard to be an Inquisitor, you know.
Yeah, pretty classic stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like Imperial planets with like billions and trillions of people. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the tropes for Moloch or the Diadoche. He's actually in the prologue of the first Ravenor book, where Patience Kiss is pretending to be his like girlfriend, and he's got like the flamer or whatever, and he's like burning away at this like relics to uncover a bit of Enuncia, and there's like an explosion there, and he gets near burnt to death there. So he's not on the October country at the end. He's like he's in the prologue, and that's about it.
That's him.
Yeah.
Right.
That's who Moloch is. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Fair.
Whew,
so the point I was gonna make though is that I just feel like any Imperial planet where they have hive cities and like billions and billions of people living on top of each other is just asking for like mass riots and instability at some point.
Yeah.
Like any little thing can set off people to be like, "Rawr, we're burning stuff down," especially because there's just so many people living right on top of each other.
Are you saying the Imperium doesn't care about its people and they live in a perpetual powder keg of instability?
That is what I am saying. That is correct.
I don't know. I feel like the Imperium are the good guys, and like they would. That's no system where the good guys are involved. Would live like that. Come on.
Yeah, I just felt that was like, I don't know. I didn't feel sad about it. I'm like, oh no, the entire planet was thrown into chaos and riots and stuff. This happens every day in the Imperium on many planets.
Every day somewhere else. It's happening here because of him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, you think anybody in the Imperium at large is like, oh no, I can't believe this happened? They're like, tick the box. Eustace Majoris is now shitty again. Right. Let's try to fix it, I guess. Yeah.
Who's nearby? Who can we send? You know.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. The Imperium's callous. It doesn't strictly care, but that's the overlook of the Imperium. On paper, the people care. Ravenor does care, but he has to like step aside for the bigger picture. But, like, that's his perspective. He absolutely could be like, hey, Rorken, it turns out the governor was involved. I'm no longer in special conditions. Can you send some people here or to go after Mullich? Can I get more resources? No, he doesn't do that because he thinks he has to do it. It's hubris again, right?
It is. This whole story is hubris. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Totally. What's the other thing? Oh, when Ravenor has his big psyker fight at the end, I like that he kills the dude with his chair.
All right.
Because I was like, oh yeah, like these are psyker regular dudes. They're not strong. Like they can't. I'm like used to 30k stuff where psychers are friggin' space marines a lot of the time, and Zahariel's this like massive mountain of a man who can beat you to death with his hands, but also kill you with his mind. And hitting him with a chair would probably not kill him.
Right.
Yeah. It's just really, for a second, I was like, oh, right. These are regular, fragile human beings who are also powerful psychers.
I think my favorite part in the book is when Zale's like, Ravenor, I had a dream. I need to tell you about this dream. He's like, okay, what happened in the dream? Well, it's something to do with the word, it's like the church where Kara ends up going. I can't remember the name of it.
Me neither.
But he's like, okay, so then what happened in the dream? Well, Kara was there, and she said she would take her top off if I told you. And he's around to be like, that's stop there. I don't need to know. Like, he's like, I think I understand where this dream's going, boy.
Yeah, this poor little 15-year-old future seer having these dreams. Yeah, it's all gonna mix in there somehow. Yeah, there's a moment where he's trying to peep on Patience.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, dude.
Frauke. He's like, no, turn away. And he takes a look and like, cutting blade.
Yeah.
It's very good.
It's very good.
Oh.
Yeah. A lot of good stuff.
Speaking of Patience Kiss, she gets like kidnapped because she was like undercover in the hive looking at the fancy numbers. And they're like, oh, she had a subconscious, like, reaction to this. We need to get, like, whatever vow she got from Annuncia out of her, and then we can kill her. But she manages...
then kill her.
And then kill her. But she manages to escape with Unworth.
Well, and they don't kill her because they figure out she's not who she says she is when she applied for the job, and that she's a pretty powerful psyker.
Right.
So instead of just shooting her in the head, they're like, what's going on with you? You're probably connected to Ravenor. Let's figure this out.
Right.
Which totally saves her life because she was so dead.
Yeah.
That's all.
She was pretty dead. Yeah, but she manages to escape with Unworth. Unworth really... stepping up to the plate and escaping. And I don't know, is it just me, or was a lot of Unworth and Patience Kiss coded romance between them? Because he's like, I am not as generously apportioned in the luggage as you are, Miss Kiss. And she's like, is that a compliment? And he's like, I do believe it was within those parameters.
I think he's into it. And I think she's just like, this guy's not as big of a slimeball as I thought he was. Like, he is being tortured on our behalf. It's our fault that this guy is missing fingers now.
I don't think Patient Kiss feels bad about that. She's the one telling, like, Zale to fuck off with his dreams and go back to bed. She's kind of a hard...
No, I don't think she feels bad about it, but she just sees more in him than she saw previously.
Okay. It's a respect thing, not a romance for her. Okay.
I don't think for her. I do love that they're escaping and they're flying away in a craft and the robot birds start chasing them.
Right, the robot birds.
And he's like, so they're birds? And she's like, yeah, they act like birds. He's like, they're birds, right? She's like, yes, why do you keep asking me that?
Right.
And then he plunges them into like a lake somewhere. And he's like, birds can't swim. That was so good. That's my favorite Unworth moment. And he's also, I can't swim, by the way. Please save me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, Unworth has some good moments. Oh, and I liked too after they get back to the, back to the hideout. They're like, all right, Unworth, thanks for the help. Stay here where it's safe. And he's like, I want to come with you. And if you tell me that you're keeping things from me for my own health, I'm gonna get really mad. They're like, fair.
Yeah.
Like, last time we did that, it went pretty poorly for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just I feel like maybe I ship them. I think that's the correct verbiage, fellow teenagers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but we'll see.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
So is that it for this book? Do you have anything else? Oh, we didn't talk about Maud Plyton.
About who?
Maud Plyton. She's the cop whose
Oh,
uncle
right.
or has like a sweet car, but also is losing his mind slowly and plays the piano real nice. Sometimes.
Yeah, she stumbles on the stuff the secretists are interested in, and they try to kill her and her other cop friends, and her uncle. And then she gets brought in and provides some context for what's going on here, and that's about it. She doesn't do a lot.
That's about it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's nice seeing another detective, right? But like on a different scale to the Inquisition. I really
Yes.
enjoy that, especially.
That's true.
I don't know. It's also fun that she brings like the cool car, right, into it, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, nothing outruns a Bergman, you know. It's like, yeah, but they can shoot the tires, dummy. You know? I don't know.
When she's running with Kara, and Kara's like, take this turn here. And she's like, why? It's like, because if we have another straightaway, they're going to shoot her tires out. Yeah,
Right. I don't know. It's very action movie, and I really appreciated that.
totally. There's a bunch of action movie in this book.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah. It's good. I don't know. At this point, it's a false hope, but I really wish that we would stop rushing the endings in these books. Just a little more time. Just a
more time?
little
You
bit
want a little more
more.
time?
Yeah.
The problem is we know all of these books end with another book coming, right?
Right. And like that's how I say it's not a good hope. Like I don't expect it to come true because
But hey,
it's not. But
the
I just wish.
The next book is the end of this trilogy, so maybe we get a bit more of a wrap up.
Could be a little bit more time.
Yeah. So again, in your omnibus, it's a short story first called "Playing Patience," and then
Yep.
Ravenor Rogue.
Okie doke.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
there.
It's
I knew I was done because the book said in really big font,
Playing Patience.
playing patience. Yeah.
Ooh, I bought something recently. Would you like to see it?
I would.
I've got it here. It is Eisenhorn's Malleus in, book form, regular old book form. But it is illustrated and annotated by Dan Abnett. So I will open a page and there'll be all this text from Dan Abnett explaining the stuff going on and what he's thinking.
That's cool.
That is so freaking cool because I was looking online and I discovered it at like a bookstore, not far from me, like 20 minutes drive, selling it for like $80. And I'm like, okay, that's what they were going for when they launched.
Yeah.
They sold out immediately, so finding one for $80 is kind of the holy grail. Because this is Malleus, it's the second book. I would like to have Xenos as well. It's going for like $300 on eBay.
Dang.
So
yeah, okay.
finding this for cheap was so cool.
That's way cool.
But yeah,
What does he say about the end?
Do you want? Hold on. I'll find the very last. Quixos, like all good radicals, thinks he's right and refuses to accept his heresy. He even still wears his rosette still. He firmly believes he's continuing the duty of the throne. Perhaps only he is. Whatever, there's a stern lesson there for Gregor.
We knew all that, Dan. That's not any insight. What is wrong with you?
That is
Ooh.
insight, but it's
It is not. It is text. It is text.
It's I don't know. It's the text by like the end of the next book, maybe.
Whatever. It's fine. One of my favorite books is a collection of Calvin and Hobbes strips with Bill Watterson annotations in it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's
that would
fantastic.
be cool. That would be really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Anyway, okay, yeah, that's it. Another book to read, another Warhammer to do.
Let's get to it.
Kindle app is being funny again. Time to restart the phone.
Oh. That's weird.
It is.
Well, alrighty. I gotta see.
Sounds good.
I gotta see where I can find just plain patience, or if I have to like chapter search in the omnibus.
Right.
For my audiobook. Or I mean, how much is it? Oh, just like on Kindle, because like I might just read it. You know. Anyway, yeah, I'll figure that out later. Yep.
All right, sounds good. Time to wrap it up. Thanks everyone for hanging out for another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour. Did some good talking about TV shows and movies and Warhammer books and stuff. Hope you enjoyed your time. Thanks for showing up to twitch.tv/Somicron to watch us live. The VODs go to youtube.com/@Somicron if that's more your speed. You can support the podcast at patreon.com/Somicron and by buying merch at falconpaladin.store. So again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll be back next week with more. Exactly 1 week from now. Until then, stay safe and healthy. You take care of yourself.
Bye.
Bye.